Hey guys, let's dig into the RCA 10J106 Universal Color Test Jig I just picked up, because I need to check it out inside. If the yoke or the picture tubes are bad or missing, that's going to be well, a showstopper. So I want to take the back off, test the picture tube, check out what's inside, and then we're going to take a bit of a deeper dive into what all is here, what I'm missing, what I'm going to need to actually use this with some of the sets I have. And before any more comments about, hey, have you talked to Shango? Yeah, we are aware of each other. We've been doing YouTube videos for about as long as each other. He kindly scanned the full manual for me. Now the manual that came with this is like a little 8-pager that gives you a brief overview and a schematic. But what the more detailed manual has is a list for all the different chassis that this supports, which of these adapters you need, and how to configure it. And there's a lot more to it than I initially suspected. So what is this? What do you use this for? Well, you've probably seen me use a little black and white substitution box. Sometimes I just use the bare CRT, like a 5A XP4 or 8 XP4, which are ruggedized black and white mini picture tubes that you can just plug into a set in place of the full-size picture tube to use on the bench. But there's also a little jig that has one of those universal picture tubes inside of a box, and it has a yoke inside of it and has a bunch of clips coming out, and you can clip that into the set you're working on and substitute for the picture tube and the yoke, and you can actually get an image on it. That's what this does as well. So as for color TVs, there's a little bit more going on, and it runs on quite a bit more voltage. One of the nice things this has is a built-in voltmeter going up to 33,000 volts. It's my understanding that's one of the harder things, or can be one of the harder things about the early color sets, is to get good, solid, high voltage at sufficient levels, and while also minimizing the cathode current through the horizontal output tube. Alright, so that's that. So you hook this up to your set high voltage supply, comes in here, you get to display it on the meter, and of course it feeds this picture tube. Mine has been cut off. I don't know exactly what goes on the end of this, but it would need to hook safely up to the high voltage cup that'd be coming out of the chassis you're working on. Some other inputs that are very straightforward is the audio. Should be some alligator clips at the end of this. Is just simply a speaker inside, and this just clips into and substitutes for the speaker for the set you're working on. And this is a ground clip. These are the trickier ones. These go to the yoke and possibly the convergence stuff. Color pitch tubes are more complicated. You've got red, green, and blue guns, and they're somewhat larger picture tubes and a bit more demanding in that the yoke and the associated circuitry really needs to be working right to get the red, green, and blue images hitting the right phosphor dots and all that stuff. Black and white, you can be pretty sloppy and you still get an image. There's also a wide range of types of color picture tubes. They're around for quite a while, but this is rectangular, different kinds of yokes, different size picture tubes. These are to try to match it as closely as you can. The yoke inside this has taps in it, so you're trying to match the inductance, I believe, is how these go. So again, in that full manual, they tell you not only what adapter to use, but how to set these switches. And these plugs go to yoke adapters and the CRT plug. And because we have red, green, and blue guns, we have a lot more wires. That's why it's not just a few alligator clips. We have these Molex connectors because there's a whole lot more stuff going on. Looking at the back of this makes me think that they repurposed the cabinet from our production set. It has all these openings for adjustments that just do not exist in this. And that's what we have inside. So it's certainly not an empty box. Huge this yoke is. And notice there's no convergence board on this. I believe it has static convergence, I think is the term they use. So I think the end result is it's not going to be perfect, but it'll be something usable. Or I think it's only the convergence is only good in the middle of the screen. Something like that. So here's our CRT. It's a Delta gun, I imagine, and all these leads just go right to one of those front connectors. What do we got going on up in here? Huh. Oh, okay. I guess they, I thought that the yoke itself had taps on it, but no, they've got these rather strange looking coils under here. Those must be the impedance matching devices, as well as that transformer there. There's a little speaker. Yeah, it's just going straight to those. In fact, the wire just goes straight through the cabinet to that speaker. And there's the high voltage meter. And that's all you get. So what CRT is in this? It's a special ruggedized one that can operate over a wider high voltage range, up to 33,000 volts. So we're gonna pop this open and test it. And there's the yoke plug there. Again, it goes to the front. So if this CRT is good, I think we're in business. You may have seen Shango's deployment last year or 2 years ago when he got one of these and it was shipped or transported face down and it got all ruined. It knocked the CRT and stuff. So I hope this is good. They're a little bit scarcer. Now I noticed that there are a bunch of adapters on eBay, and I think the complete set consists of quite a few of these. So there's one thing to use this with an RCA chassis, but they also support other manufacturers. And Shango showed me he had a kit just for GE TVs with a whole bunch of parts in there. And as he pointed out, some of these adapters, they're not just straight through with wires. There are components in here, primarily resistors, that you wouldn't need in a black and white set adapter. And I'm really curious about this. Maybe this has absolutely nothing to do with this, and I suspect that may be the case. But it has Molex plugs, but it has LED displays, which have no business being anywhere near high voltage or a picture tube or anything like that. So this may have just gotten tossed, and this came from a swap meet, so you get what you get. But this is more the type of adapters I'm talking about. They have these kind of like pod things at the end. Oh good, they do have numbers on them. Excellent. So if you go onto eBay and search 10J star, you'll find there's a whole bunch of these. See what I want to do. So I have 4 vintage color sets. 3 roundies, a CTC 5, 2 basically CTC 16s, and then I got Motorola's first gen rectangular color set. So I'd like to use this with those as much as possible. Those are the only vintage color sets I have, other than, well, I guess I have a GE Portacolor too, but yeah. Which leads me, getting way ahead of myself, but if this works, and I'm going to use it, I got to figure out where I'm going to put it. It's pretty big to keep on the workbench. I'll probably store it underneath my workbench, like down in the corner or something, and pull it out as needed. Alright, got adapter number 2 plugged in. It's nice to have the right adapters. Got my Syncor CR70 fired up. We do have filament glow. Testing the red gun first. No HK short. No G1 short. Do we have cutoff control? No. We do if I change the range a little bit. This wakes up a little bit more. Probably work on the proper range, but that's not that big a deal. More important. Yes, we have excellent emissions. And think about it, this will get used a lot less than a regular TV. Nobody's going to be watching this all day, every day, unless they left it on all day, every day at the shop where it was used, but that seems unlikely. Life test, absolutely rock solid. Yeah, I see the cutoff's already rising and rising. Alright, so I don't have any dots. The green, the red gun will work. Now, this isn't a fancy tester. You can do all three guns at once. I have to flip switches to go between the guns. So let's see. To do the green gun, we need 675. 675. Turn it back on. Oh, much better cutoff. Oh, sorry, wrong range again. Yeah, we do have better cutoff control with the green gun. It is rising. And emissions are fine. Emission life test fine. Second completeness, let's do the blue gun, but I suspect that is going to work just fine as well. 11, 12, 13. No shorts, no shorts. Yep, similar cutoff as on the other guns, and emissions are great. Emission light test, rock solid. Alright, cool. I am satisfied this picture tube is going to work. So now we got to worry about finding all the bits and pieces and making up adapters for the types of sets that I want to use with this. Alright, so I would like to use this with some color roundies. It'd be nice. And it did come with some of the bigger sockets. This is the kind of socket you'd use in a color roundy. So that's not going to do it though. This is just an extension cable, probably that somebody made up, just all straight through. I think one of the wires broke off, but I can fix that. So that would let me keep this some distance away from the chassis itself. It's about 3-4 feet long. But what about the adapter you would need? Well, we got this. So this could plug into that. I mean, it would plug in on the front. So on the front, yeah, ooh, we got this too. This is from a CRT tester, I'm pretty sure. Get more wires broken off. So yeah, I don't know what this hodgepodge of stuff in here. I mean, the ones that have the RCA number on them, like 10J670, this is obviously for use with this device. But yeah, I don't seem to have the main cable that would plug into the front. Unless maybe this is one of them. There's a note. Telematic yoke adapter, 10J678. 2-hole connector goes to blah on the main chassis. If picture is upside down, flip. This looks like it'd be for yokes. It's just another picture tube adapter. So yeah, Django had mentioned this. I don't seem to have the main cables that would plug into those two front connectors that these adapters would plug into, which is a drag. And I don't see those for sale on eBay, but yes, I can make them if I know what the pinout is. These are off-the-shelf connectors. I'll just have to get some wires and rig them up. The important thing is the picture tube is good. So I'm going to take stock, jot down these numbers that I have, 10J238, 10J646, and try to identify what these are for. 10J208, This one is unmarked. $10J649. $10J209 convergence plugged into a $10J278 yoke low impedance. It looks like somebody was just plugging a bunch of these into each other. I don't think these are all supposed to go like that, but what do I know? Maybe they do. $10J683. $10J670. Custom Components Corporation. Don't know. $10J239. $10J602. Alright, so I've got my homework to do, but the important thing is pitch tube is good. All the key components are here, so fantastic. When I get back to color sets, probably early next year after I finish off all these porthole sets, some customer sets, we're going to dive deep back into the color sets. That's it for now. Thanks for watching.